What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Lucid, I want to go over some of the current data points as well as one very good question to pose to management. So I'm going to go over all the things that you need to know, but first make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So starting off, Lucid is up 1.71%. Very volatile day, so 364 the high, 353 the low, and a good amount of volume so far. So 6.8 million shares being traded, 34.1 is the average. So a lot of volatility. Regrettably, you did have some institutions selling first thing right here, and you can tell that based on the bid, the ask, and the selling price. So right now, two transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000, one for 304, the other one for 1.16. Actually, what I'll do is I'll quickly refresh that. So yeah, just the two right now. And then you do have market makers covering these open interest options from last week. So July 19th chain, 8,000 in open interest at the $3 strike price, then 11,000 at that 350. So all in all, pretty good stuff. And then adding one extra layer to the mix, this is why you're having a lot of volatility today. You're having shorts increase 374,000 shares today, 27.52% of the free float's being shorted, and that works out to be 243.73 million shares. So right now, shorts are somewhat timid. Again, take that with a grain of salt. Anticipate them to be timid up until the tail end of the week. So GDP and PCE, so that's Thursday and Friday. So nonetheless, though, it's going to be a fun ride, a lot of volatility in the foreseeable future, and the technicals will kind of mimic that as well. So once I go over that, they'll make a little bit more sense. But like I said at the very beginning, I wanted to go over some of the data points, but more specifically, one very good question to pose to management. So there hasn't been all that much coming out from Lucid as of today, but it does open this. So I've been really hyping this up, even though this isn't a catalyst though. Potentially how they answer questions is a catalyst, but starting on July the 22nd, which is today, 2:30 Pacific, shareholders can submit questions to Lucid's management for them to answer roughly around 3 to 5 questions, sometimes if they feel bad for us a little bit more during their Q2 earnings. So this is one of the very rare opportunities that retail can pose questions to management. Like I've really stressed almost every single quarter, like this is important. And the reason why it's important, especially to get the right questions out there, is because whatever is really asked and submitted on day one, typically those questions are picked for the end, right? Because people just see them, they don't want to ask questions, they just upvote and whatever else. So in essence, a lot of bad questions have been asked in the past. And like I said, there's only 4 opportunities a year that we get to ask questions. So this is where like Gravity unveiling, or potentially even the truck, ESS, various other forms of partnerships, whether it be Hyundai, those are all very good questions. But because of this recent announcement, which hasn't been officially done by Lucid, just a lot of accounts have kind of said that it is a deal and whatever else, but Lucid made a deal with 𝗪𝗪𝗧, which is CR7's team. I did bring this up in a previous video, and some people are like, I never heard of CR7, which I didn't think people didn't know who CR7 is. So right here, but it's going to be, I think that's good for Lucid. It would have been better like during the World Cup or even the Euros, but whatever, it is what it is. Beside the point though, a lot of people are saying, I believe it was Let's Go Lucid, so I got to give him props for saying, well, maybe an English Premier League team could be coming out. And there was that rumor about Newcastle possibly having Lucid as a sponsor. I think that came out roughly 1 year ago. But logically, English Premier League has the most viewers out there. So if they're trying to get the most bang for their buck, I feel like English Premier League would be where it's at. So that kind of alludes to another question that I feel could be asked to management, and that is, where is that at? Where's like, because this came out, this article, 2022, June 23rd, 2022, about the UK debut, because supposedly, I guess, to configure the right-hand steering wheel and everything, it must be a very complex thing. I have no idea exactly how, I'm not an engineer or whatever, so I'm sure some of you guys will have more knowledge to that than me, but clearly I would have anticipated it to come out a little bit sooner. So especially Peter, he loves to talk on technology and innovating. So you can always word the question like, so given Lucid trying to innovate, like why haven't they launched into the UK yet? I feel like that would be a very good, well-posed question, because this alluded to 2023 being the UK debut. This article that came out the tail end of December said that it's basically going to be another 2 years. In my opinion, there's a lot of good money out there in the UK as well as Germany. So Lucid's hitting pretty much the good areas that have all the money, right? And demand, money equals demand and stuff like that. But the UK is just getting overlooked. Is there some import? Is there some tariffs or what? It doesn't logically make sense. So I feel like this is a very good opportunity for Peter to really do his salesman pitch, as what a lot of people like to say, and just talk on technology and why Lucid can or cannot accomplish this in 2 years. So I feel like this is a very good question to really be had, because in order for English Premier League teams to sponsor or kind of have Lucid as a sponsor, they would Lucid would need to deliver to the UK, or else it doesn't make sense, right? So I think it goes tit for tat, but regardless, I think there's going to be some good questions to be had. And plus, in the past, there's been a lot of tech issues, so it hasn't really always opened up exactly on time. So it looks fully functioning right now. So I think that's kind of a good thing going forward. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. As far as options, within the first 45 minutes of the trading day, you're seeing 246,000 in calls, 60,000 in puts. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. I'll quickly refresh this. Looking at the call options that are being purchased, you do see a consensus for it to be above $5 by the end of this week. So like I said in my video yesterday, even though there's going to be a lot of volatility in the future, you do see a lot of bullishness when it comes to the technicals. So again, that could be somewhat good, somewhat bad. I'll leave it up to you guys to make that determination. But looking at puts, you do see a consensus for it to be sub 350. So I still feel like the risk versus reward is very much in favor of upside, but with it at $3.58, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So like I said, a lot of volatility, just anticipate that in the next little bit. So 343 is going to be the next strong support, then 372 will be the next strong resistance level. On the actual chart itself, still higher percentile of the boiling band, stochastic, you do see a bearish deviation. A number of retail investors are getting in today. So all in all, I still feel like a lot of the data points are rather optimistic, and I think when it comes down to their upcoming Q2 earnings, it is going to be relatively bullish based on everything that I see out there. But one thing that we can really look for the future and get good questions is this right here, by asking the right questions. So I think almost ever since I've been covering Lucid since like 2021, almost every single earnings that they've started to do this, there's always one question about Apple. I have no idea why people are so fixated on Apple, which yes, it would be good, but I feel like that isn't something right now that we need to ask. There's a lot bigger fish to fry. And I've been really saying ESS. I have no idea why nobody seems to care aside from me about that, because there's been plenty of articles coming out saying that like ESS, everyone is, Tesla is even focusing on energy storage systems. It doesn't logically make sense why Lucid just omitted that when it can be such a very profitable business. And I think it had something to do with, at the time, just the Saudi infrastructure wasn't there. But since then, they've really developed that. So it makes sense that why not kick that back up, right? So that is also another good question. There's tons of questions that I think retail can really ask that would get a lot of good utility out of. Just not, are you partnering with Apple? Do you see profitability coming? Those are questions that we do not ask right now. And plus, based on every interview that he's done, Peter said that the whole mid-size SUV, that's what's going to take Lucid to profitability. So that's coming out late 2026. So it is fair to assume 2027 or possibly early 2028 is going to be when profitability does occur. So please do not ask about profitability unless I've seen some rumors out there. Again, they can't really be verified, but maybe Lucid itself is just planting these questions for us just to vote on. Very low-hanging fruit, make the questions very simple, because it doesn't logically make sense why retail can simply be asking about profitability every single quarter. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know. Beside the point, let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with all that, appreciate all of you watching.